So what we see right here is MAC address tracking map. We see a bunch of different people, as you can see with my cursor. This guy has an Apple phone. If you have your phone have Wi-Fi or Bluetooth on, your phone is constantly broadcasting your hardware address. That includes your laptop as well, by the way. So either Bluetooth or Wi-Fi both broadcast your MAC address, which is like the fingerprint of your phone. So anytime you go and order something and pay at a store, if they have beacons, they are tracking you. They are able to tie your face to your device and also your name if you give it to them at the register. So this is a display. These antennas here, these are beacons that are tracking. They also look like little circles, so they don't always stand out, so you don't always know they're there. Sometimes they offer free Wi-Fi, but they don't even have to, and you don't even have to connect to the Wi-Fi to be tracked. Just having Bluetooth or Wi-Fi on will track you. So turn off Bluetooth, turn off Wi-Fi, and I'm going to explain what I did with AnonSurf, and I added extra code and my own features to it. And I wanted to first explain the MAC address tracking again, like my previous video, just so people know where I'm coming from. So, like I said, your device broadcasts the MAC address fingerprint everywhere you go. It can be mapped out any place you enter or exit. And so what I want to show you guys is how your MAC address, which is here at the top here, your MAC address is unique. It is tied to your hardware device. And what AnonSurf does normally is AnonSurf will just clear DNS cache, which your DNS cache can give away all the websites you've resolved. So that's really helpful. It also turns off IP version 6, so it can turn off the IP version 6 that would give away your MAC address to everyone. And it also then routes all your traffic through Tor. So this is pretty important. We can see now, like if you had, say for example, nothing running, just regular Firefox, no AnonSurf, no Tor, you would just directly connect to the website. And of course from there they have your router IP address and everything else. But with Tor, you connect to what's known as an entry guard, and from there you connect to middle relays. And what this does is it helps to hide your actual IP address and your basically your web history. It also hides that from the public Wi-Fi, which may collect all the data of everything you do. So if you're on public Wi-Fi, I highly suggest Tor. Check out AnonSurf too. This video is about my modification of AnonSurf, and I wanted to introduce some of the tracking topics just to start in case nobody watched my previous videos. So what we're going to show you is the tutorial. You can go to parrotlinux.org if you want to get the full tutorial on how to install my modified version of AnonSurf. I added to that version of AnonSurf completely randomized, continually changing MAC addresses at continually changing randomized times. And the reason that's important is because even if you are using something simple like MAC Changer, that changes your MAC address on the cron tab, you still make a pattern, and the broadcast can be analyzed. Anytime there's a pattern, that is vulnerable to a pattern analysis. So what the idea behind this modification to AnonSurf is it actually changes your MAC address at anonymized addresses at continually changing randomized times. So here's an example of it running. You can see it changed the MAC address. Normal AnonSurf doesn't change your MAC address. So this is my own little version, of course, and I really want to credit everybody who worked hard on AnonSurf to put this together. So I added my own little features to change the MAC address at continually changing randomized times. It also AnonSurf disables IP version 6, so how I showed you that your MAC address is actually receivable and people can figure it out from your IP version 6 address. I also added the feature to change your host name. So for example, if you run Parrot Linux, it has Parrot as your computer host name. That kind of stands out like a sore thumb on public Wi-Fi as a penetration testing privacy distribution. So I wanted to make it a little more vague, a little more a little more normal, blending into the computer network. Say you're on a public Wi-Fi and you don't want to be tracked. It changes your computer name right now to computer, which is one of the most common host names on the internet. As you can see here, it started the randomized MAC changing at randomized times. Here we have a window. I've created it as a system D service. So that's what the tutorial goes through. The tutorial will teach you. I added the ability to add it as a system D service. So that was part of my modification to AnonSurf. So on my GitHub, you can download all the needed files. Just read the README or look at the tutorial on parrotlinux.org. And if you have any questions, just email me at write2privacy@tutanota.com. Everything's in the README, everything you need to know. I'm just going to go over it vaguely right here, just to introduce it to you guys, because I think it's going to be a really helpful thing for most people who have Linux running. I have it running as a system D service. That means every time I turn on my computer, AnonSurf is running automatically. As I log in, I'm already on AnonSurf. There's no chance of leaking DNS cache or leaking the IP version 6 because it's turned off all times. And it's also on Tor Network at all times. So everything I do, from traceroute to ping to anything else, is all done through the Tor Network. So this will help you maintain your privacy, because previously AnonSurf did not do anything with your MAC address. So what we see here now on the screen is how they track people in their car using, well, I don't know who, but it's just an example of how you can be tracked in your car using Bluetooth beacons that are in street lamps, which is a pretty common thing. People just don't know about it. It's not labeled, it's not shown, it's not advertised. As you're driving, your Bluetooth is going off and giving out your address even if you don't connect to anything. Same with your Wi-Fi, as I mentioned earlier. So this video isn't going to go into too much detail on the setup, but please check the comments and description for a link, and I will be happy to help guide you through the process of setting up my modified version of AnonSurf. Like I said, you can download it at github.com/write2privacy/AnonSurf-1, and right there you'll get everything you need to set it up on Linux for yourself. If you want to run it as the optional system D service, that's completely optional. It's very simple to use. See, as you see, I have my terminal up right now. You just use system control and say I want to check the status of it, AnonSurf.service, and there we see the different MAC addresses that my computer has changed its name to different MAC addresses at randomized times. As you can see, the first time was 1743 seconds, the next randomized time was 808 seconds, next was 1274, and completely different addresses. And while you are running the AnonSurf I modified, you will have a different host name, and it will change it back at the end. When you stop AnonSurf, if you decide to stop AnonSurf, it will change back to the other host name. So at any time you want to stop it, you can simply do stop AnonSurf.service. Keep in mind that you have to actually go through the setup for this to work, and it's all typed out neatly with screenshots for you on the tutorial and also in the README. So I'm going to stop AnonSurf right now just to give you a demonstration on that. It's very simple. At that point, you are then connecting directly from your IP if you've stopped the AnonSurf system D serve. I just wanted to go over this with you guys. I thought you guys would find this helpful. That's the reason I made it, modified AnonSurf, because I felt like the MAC address part was not covered in AnonSurf, and I wanted to make sure it was covered. So I hope you like the video. It's pretty popular right now to track people by their MAC address. It's one of the more unknown ways of tracking. People think you need to connect to public Wi-Fi, but that is not the case. Say you got a cell phone, you're worried about this, just turn off Wi-Fi, turn off Bluetooth. And if you have a laptop with Linux, go ahead and give my version of AnonSurf a try. I think you'll really like it and appreciate it. And anytime you want to stop it, all you have to issue is system control stop AnonSurf.service. So it's very easy to stop anytime you don't want to deal with the Tor CAPTCHAs or blocked exit nodes. So that's what I got today, guys. I hope you like it. Have a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and I will be back later with more on how you can protect your privacy.